Peace and blessings, and welcome back to the Heritage Hip Hop Podcast. This episode is brought to you by Transparent Credit Repair, the superheroes of the financial literacy world. Stimulus checks are not the only way to live financially secure right now in the pandemic of COVID-19. If you would like to have help with your credit report, getting out of debt, or learning financial sensibility, please call 862-250-5122 or go to www.transparentcreditrepair.com. Not only will they help you with your financial needs, they'll also teach you about money to keep your money and your financial responsibility intact. Tell them Heritage Hip Hop sent you and you'll get something special. This episode, we are talking to an MC who is the story of coming from nothing and getting something. He's gone on tour, he's performed opening up for Nas, and he's made a name for himself being not only a wordsmith, but a showman when it comes to the microphone and performing. Today's episode, we talk to Georgia MC Copyright, and he tells us not only what's it like to live being examined by the culture for looking different, he also talks socialism as we rest in peace Ahmaud Arbery, because he's from that town in which that travesty has taken place. Let's learn from Copyright not only about hip-hop, but about life lessons as well. Stay tuned, and I'll come back with the rest of my commentary.
Peace and blessings, everybody. This is Karev from Heritage Hip Hop. I got a special MC on the phone that is not an alien to adversity and overcoming. Introduce yourself to the people.
I go by the name Copyright, calling all the way from Brunswick, Georgia.
Now, usually when people interview people, you get the same cookie cutter interview where people say, well, how did you get started in hip hop, et cetera, correct?
Oh, yeah, of course.
We're not doing that tonight. What we're going to do is talk about the influence of life through hip hop. Sounds good to you?
That sounds awesome.
All right, so let's start. When it comes to me listening to Copyright is a person with a lot to say that is based on his experience and how he sees the game. How do you see life, and how does life make you make music?
Well, I guess overcoming the obstacles that I had to go through in life, it sounds typical, but, I was raised in a predominantly black neighborhood. And to the normal eye, of course, people see me as white. Actually, my dad is from Iran, and my mom is from Italy. So, it was a lot of background and history that came behind my name. So I would definitely say growing up in the predominantly black neighborhood, it had a lot to do with the influence, and I'm actually very thankful for that. I'm very thankful. It's almost like I'm the middleman. I'm the middleman. It's like the white culture doesn't want to embrace me for some reason. I'm not sure why, and it's and the black culture was always welcome with open arms. So it had a lot, and unfortunately, even today now as just normal human beings, we do fight that big war called racism. So racism did play a big role in my career.
It's interesting that you said that, because being the middleman, we always try to cut the middleman out, not understanding that the middleman is the means of how you measure and the barometer of style, society, and the temperature of society as well. What you said was very interesting, because if you look at Iran culture, it's very male-driven. If you look at Italian culture, it's predominantly vocal. Is that how, when you did your style, you made sure that your vocals were cleaner as you rhymed than you just rapping on a beat?
Oh, yes, of course. Especially when it goes to, when I try to follow up on the BPMs, the beats per minute, especially when I start having to rap a lot faster, a lot of people are saying, hey, you're able to actually, vocally, you can hear what I'm saying. There's a lot of people that rap fast, and you cannot understand a word, but every single word I can pronounce very correctly, so everyone can understand even without a subtitle. And that's what I love most about myself, is the versatility. You know, not only do I have lyrical hip hop for people, but also I'm doing trap music just to be commercial, of course. And then also I'm doing EDM so I can go international. Currently working on reggae a little bit because I am married to a Jamaican. So
shout out to marriage and your wife.
Yeah. So it's
salute.
And that was the toughest part. I won't lie. She's a battle rapper too. So you know the arguments in the house can get a little crazy sometimes.
That's cool. No, that's cool because that means you're using life to craft your style, and that's cool. See the thing about what you just said about clean lyrics means that you're not a rapper. You are an orator. And an orator is a person that with the gift of speech. Martin Luther King was an orator. Malcolm X was an orator. Unfortunately, Adolf Hitler was an orator, and look at what his influence did to the world. So in understanding those three gentlemen that I brought out, your voice has the power to influence and predominantly change the thoughts of the people. How have your rhymes changed the thoughts of the people from when you walk on stage to after you leave after a performance?
Oh, they definitely, especially certain stages that I've been on, people come up to me, and it also depends geographically where I'm at as well. You know, like that's definitely why I do so much versatile music, because geographically, like if I just stuck to lyricism, I can't really do a lot in the South. And that's speaking from experience. You know, I've been there. And so, like, for instance, I went to New York City and I performed at the Melrose Ballroom. I was part of a big world MC competition with Team Backpack, 64 artists, and the crowd was awesome. I mean, there was probably at least like 2,000 people there, and it was phenomenal to be able to actually spit what I normally like to spit, which is a lyrical hip-hop, you know, 90s hip-hop flow. They appreciated it a lot more. And so I had people coming up like, man, because when you hear that, for me, when they say, we have copyright from Brunswick, Georgia, you know, first off, everybody's like, Georgia? That's from the South. And then when you say Brunswick, you're like, I don't even know where that's at. So coming from a small city of a 15 to 20 mile radius and then going to New York and being able to hang with these guys lyrically, it blows their mind. Especially my voice. My voice throws everybody off. And then when they meet me, they're like, wow. They're just like, what? There's no way that's you. I'm like, yeah, that's me, man.
Yeah. Now, looking at your career from how you started to now, we're not going to talk about the now yet. I want to talk about Area 51. Tell me about that project and what came of that project.
Man, this is when I first started. And I had no clue what I was going to do at first. I was pondering on one project before that, and I didn't like the name of it, which I did call it the Vegan Diet for no beef, you know, because it was for like no beef, you know, and it was just like, yeah, you know, and I was still finding my voice currently. And so this is literally like my first year in the studio, and I've only been doing it for like, you know, a couple years, not that long at all. And Area 51, I was like, okay, a lot of people knew me back in high school for doing MMA, mixed martial arts, and then to switch over to doing hip-hop out of nowhere, you know, the front cover was me wrapped up in, like, the confidential tape with duct tape over my mouth and stuff, and basically saying, like, when you think of Area 51, it's like it was a secret the whole time or something, you know, just kind of going based off an idea. I was like, whatever, you know, I met a great producer, and I just went on with it. And I had a nice little mixtape party. It wasn't bad. But now looking back on it, I was like, man. It was like, what I had going on? I had no clue.
But you pulled it off because what you said was very key. You went from MMA to hip hop, which is very similar because when you're in MMA, any wrong thing you do kills your performance. So the stage may have changed, but the performance stayed the same. You had to be on top of your game to deliver quality to ensure that you knock out a crowd the same way you have an opponent under your win. Am I correct?
Exactly, of course.
So then, coming from both worlds, I'm gonna ask you a question that I can't ask too many people, because too many people on here, they like to fight, but they don't know about fighting or MMA style. Like boxing is one of my favorite sports. MMA is a sport, but it's also cerebral as well. If you had to describe how you create a track, how would you compare that to an MMA fight?
Oh, wow. When it comes to creating a record, first I have to find a beat with myself that stands with me, and which is similar to when you want to start training for a fight. You know, you have to have a certain pattern you have to follow. You have to study very hard. Not only just study, but study your opponent. And that's what I can do with music. You know, I listen to what's out, and like, let's say if it's a lyrical track, I want to listen to what's out right now. Like, let me see if I can, you know, go over the bar. You know, let me try to set the bar to what I think should be going on right now. Because, I mean, there is. I mean, hip-hop is a sport as well. You know, you have opponents, other artists. And so you study your opponents. And that's like, I always like, if there's a feature, for example, somebody asks me to be on a feature, I'm not going to lie. I don't care if it's my homeboy. 9 times out of 10, I'm going to make sure I outdo him so I stand out on that track. Just like as if I was to go into a fight, whether it's a KO, submission, or even just by unanimous decision at the end of the rounds. You know, I want to make sure I come out on top every single time. And it comes with practice. I can't tell you how many times I've rewrote a bar, you know, just to try to make the rhyme scheme work correctly so it doesn't go over too many heads, but they get it and it's clean cut straight to the point. Just like a punch. You throw a punch, you want to make sure it lands. Punch lines. Hey, you got to make sure that punch line lands.
Yes, you're right. That's why I think so many people in the game are not artists. They're just participants. I say that to a lot of people. I think a lot of people who try to rap or who are rapping right now are just participating. They're not really putting their all into growing into it to be their best. They're doing it to make money or to just be popular, not effective. How do you measure yourself? Are you an effective artist, or you're an artist still trying to reach effectiveness in your perfection?
I would say everybody has room to make efforts or improvements. I will say that, you know, because they're every day or every year, even every couple months, you know, hip hop changes. It does. But certain artists are more effective than others. You know, there's definitely one major key is learning the business side. The business side makes a lot of difference if you know about it. I can't tell you how many artists I run into when I ask them, when I have them on a feature, I say, hey, you know, or if they want me on a feature, I'm like, okay, well, what PRO are you with? They're like, what's that? And I said, you got to be kidding me. You know, even I have the BMI app on my phone. So if I go to a venue, I sign in and I say, I'm here. I'm getting paid for that. A lot of artists don't know. You know, you sign in with BMI at an event or location, you can get paid for that performance. And that's a major key, a major ingredient to a music career, if that's what you want to do. Now, if you're just doing a hobby, by all means, carry on about your day. But I make sure I go to a quality studio, and not just a quality studio, but someone who sits behind that chair that knows what they're doing. That's also a major key.
Yes, it is. And that's something that we teach on Heritage Hip Hop, is that independence is a beautiful thing as long as you know how to be independent. Because everybody would say, I don't need a label, I can be independent. But they don't even really know the game and how the game is played. It's like I tell people, if you're going to play basketball, first you got to learn about the ball. Then you got to learn the dimensions of the court. Then you got to learn how to shoot. You got to learn how to run with the ball. There's a lot you have to do. And the same things with music. You can't just put your voice on a beat and then call yourself a rapper. You're a participant. If it's something that you really want to do, you have to learn the game so you know how to play, or you will get played. Don't you agree?
Oh yes, most definitely. I've seen so many artists get played, especially with with showcases. I mean, and that's something major, you know, like that's, oh, pay this much to get on here. Like I've seen people charge showcases for like $300 for one song performance track. And I said, you got to be kidding me. And then Also, the artists look crazy and stupid when they get up there. And their song at the beginning, and I will not stress this enough, it drives me up the wall if I go somewhere, and I hear at the very beginning of their track, purchase your tracks today. That is my biggest pet peeve ever. Like, I can't respect it. I can't. As an artist that puts and invests money into himself, I can't respect it. You need to at least buy the basic lease, which is probably no more than $20.
Yeah. Or what they could do is hook up with Heritage Hip Hop, and we have producers who will make you hot tracks and make you better than what you are right now.
Hey, that works too, you know? That works too. I mean, and that's very key, you know, instead of going on YouTube, you know, find somebody you can make a relationship with that is a producer, make something happen, get those exclusive rights, pay for it. It's worth it in the end.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. Let's continue about with your growth, because the dream of an MC is not only to be listened to, but it's to be heard, or to be heard and yet still be listened to. When did you find out people were actually listening to you and not just hearing you speak?
I think it was when I dropped my second project, my second mixtape, Reverse Psychology. And that made a huge difference. This was actually when I first met my wife. She was on it. And it played a major role. I had people sending me messages reciting my stuff, or when I see them in public. And it was a very, I'm not going to lie, I wish I would have bought some of those beats, because it was just a mixtape. I released it for free. And it could have been an album. It really could have. And they said it was album worthy. And I even said that in one of my tracks on there called Mason Dixon with my close friend Flyboy Breeze. On the hook, I said, drop the mixtape. It sounded like an album. And I was like, man, it really did sound like an album. It had very great content on it. The energy was high on it. Everything was on point. And so that's when I started realizing when I go out more, people are like, yo, Copyright. You know, it wasn't my government name. And my son at the time, he was 3, and he was looking crazy like, who are all these people? And as he grew older, you know, he started realizing that, you know, I made a mark, and a lot of people, actually the main record on that project that made it happen, and unfortunately this was the one, it was a diss track. It was a diss track on 2 major artists here in my city, and they couldn't respond back, and it ended up me being jumped, actually. I got jumped in the club by like 8 guys. Oh. It was them and 6 of their people, but I stood my ground. And instead of me coming back with other people trying to physically do it, I came back with another song with a subliminal in it, and I said, this is how we're going to do it. And they respected that at that moment, and that's when everybody was like, yo, you're like the Eminem of Brunswick. Like, what is going on? Like, that's what they started calling me. They were like, and every time I go out somewhere, they're like, nobody can mess with you lyrically around. Nobody.
So you went over your home's crowd. See, that's dope, because, see, that's what it takes to be big in your city and people will recognize you. But tell me about live performing, because from what I heard, you had a show where you opened up for Nas. Is that true?
Yes.
And tell me how that was.
Man, that was the greatest moment of my life. It was CIAA weekend in Charlotte.
Shout out to CIAA.
Yes, I was so thankful for that opportunity. Actually, Cal Dawson, which was one of the old managers of Murder Inc., is the one who got me involved with that. And we just kind of met at a gas station. That was the weirdest part. We met at a gas station, chopped it up with him, and then I gave him my music, and he's like, oh, man, this is not bad at all. I was like, I appreciate that. And then it's when he invited me, he's like, yo, I got this slot. It does cost, which I understand that. I mean, it's not. CIAA weekend at one of the biggest venues they got in Charlotte at Center Stage. So I get there, long drive. It was like an 8-hour drive for me. And I was like, man, I'm tired, but I'm pumped and excited. Checked into the hotel, got to Center Stage. And so they were like, your name? Gave him my name. They said, oh, you got to go around back. Go around back. That was the greatest VIP service I've ever had in my life. I walk in, they said, all right, choose 3 bottles on the shelf. I said, whoa, all right. Chose 3 bottles, walk me over down a couple to the next room. They said, and there's a whole bunch of women standing in there. They said, all right, you get to pick 2 women to escort you and sit with you at your table. I was like, really? I was like, okay. Picked my 2 women, and then they walked me to my booth. I ended up sharing a booth with Dwight Howard that night, which was very interesting.
Nice.
And so, who else was there? It was Nas, DJ Envy, Special Ed. They had a lot of old hip-hop heads in there. I was loving it. So, I get on stage, they introduced me, had a nice 12-minute set, and rocked it. And then, I didn't know Nas was right after me. I was like, oh, man. I actually have some lyrics tattooed on the inside of my arm that he had did for his mom. Because my mom passed away when I was a senior in high school. And that song kind of got me through. And so they introduced me to him real quick. And I was like, yeah, man, you know, your song for your mom called Dance. It really moved me and helped me, you know, grieve the correct way with my mom passing. And he was like, nah, you ain't got that, man. Let me see, son. So I showed him. And he was like, man, you know what? He was like, you might be the coolest white boy I know. And I was like, no, man. I was like, I've been a fan of yours for a long time. And I was like, I mean, I'm not going to act all crazy and wild like a groupie. And he was like, I appreciate that. And that's what they do appreciate the most. You know, artists that are celebrities, they don't want you going crazy because that's what turns them off. You know, still greet them like they're a normal human being and they appreciate it and they'll even talk to you more. And then I ended up meeting him again 2 years later in Atlanta at A3C Festival.
Nice.
So I was VIP there too, and I was like, yo, you remember me? He was like, you my favorite white boy. That's right. I was like, yeah, man, yeah, that's me. I met him and Dave East at that moment, so.
Nice. Well, that's dope, man. I mean, like, those are the stories that people like to hear about when it comes to an artist is who you are, where you came from, and we're going to get to the next part a little later, the depth. But first, I want to get into some of this music because If the Shoe Fits is recently dropped, and that's your album out right now. And I was going through the album, and I was kind of thrown back by some of the tracks. And I want to give you credit. I want to give you credit to say you are a hell of an artist, not a rapper. And this is what I mean when I say that. Anybody can rap, but artists take time to craft. How long did it take you to craft and find your style?
Honestly, I would say really to fully craft it the way I want to. It was about 2 years ago. It was 2 years ago, and I guess I got tired of going to showcases and constantly getting shut down. Like, I had to learn, first off, how to dumb it down some. Because a lot of people may not want to hear this lyrical punchlines all the time. And that's what turned a lot of people away, you know, and because Atlanta's like 4 hours from me. That's the biggest music city closest to me. And this is before I started taking all my trips to New York and Cali and all over the place. And they just got tired of it. And I was actually getting disappointed with myself. And it wasn't nothing wrong with me. It's just that I'm like, man, you know, I really want more of a wow factor after I'm done. You know, they'll give me my credit, but it's like, here we go. This Eminem like, you know, person up here and blah, blah, blah. And they're not looking for that. They're really not. And so that's when I decided, I said, you know what? I have to start listening to more commercial music to be able to really perfect anything. So if anybody asks me at any moment, any artist that they want to feature, I'm able to do it. Because I did have a problem with that for a while. You know, somebody, hey, man, I got this. And it was a trap beat. And I was like, man, I really don't do this kind of stuff. And so I just had to kind of get in tune with what was going on. And I didn't really like it that much, but I started listening to, you know, Future and Migos and all this. And I'm like, man, I really don't want to do this. But if I want to survive in this game, that's what I have to do. And it worked out. Like
yeah, I mean, I'm glad you did that, because you're going to make a very big point. And what I was going to ask you, and you did it before me even asking you the question, which is pivoting. You, like most people who love the lyrical side of hip hop, have to learn not to say too much when you only have 16 bars, which is pretty hard, isn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely.
You come up in the Eminem era of hip hop. I can tell by your style. Because in the Eminem era of hip hop, people are flipping and bouncing words, syllables, and phrases, and you do that pretty well. The thing about Eminem, Jay-Z, and Nas, which made them prolific lyricists, is this one statement they all said on 3 different documentaries. They said the best rhyme is either the one I don't write or I don't say. That you have to take certain parts of yourself out to give them time to catch up to what you just said. That key right there is not only how you grab a listener and hold their attention, but they start to grow with you. And I think you said at one time, you want to be on the level where people know you because of the things you talk about, and that they know that you understand what they go through. How do you grab the listener's attention to make them grow with you, with your music?
I guess that falls into the category, and I'm sorry I keep saying this, but being versatile. You know, what I did was I took the time out and I looked to see who my followers were. And then some people were like, hey, you know, the lyrical stuff is great, but I would really like to hear this. Or, unfortunately, let's be honest, and I hate it, it's like this sometimes, but my manager tells me this all the time. She says, copyright. White people buy music, man. They buy it. And she's like, you need to grab that fan base. So, guess what I did? I started going to the predominantly white bars around here to see what they listen to. And they're on this, you know, Adele and my God, I don't even know the names of these other artists. I'm not going to lie. But I had to start digging in and grabbing that concept. And I was like, man, you know, I really need to start doing something a little more popish, even also if I have to, which I did. You know, I ended up recording that song, Never Stops.
Never Stops, which is a great song.
Yeah. And then I ended up getting a lot of feedback from that. They were like, man, that's a good party song. I love it. It has that EDM feel. And I was like, yeah, you know, I had fun making it. You know, I had a lot of energy. So when I go to the studio, I like bringing energy. I'm not that type of person where I go to a performance and I stand in one spot. You know, you give me a wireless mic, I'm all over the place. I'm everywhere. So I like interacting with people. Like, I'll tell people, like, look, I won't start performing until you get out of your seats and you come to the stage. I won't start.
Right.
I'll hold up the whole place.
Right.
And that's just how it's all about that crowd control. And the same thing is, it's like that with your listeners. You know, you want to control your listeners. Like, hey, I need you to tune into this. So if you have a mixture of different styles of hip hop in one project, they're bound to want to listen to see what else you got. And you might be able to change a few minds. Like, you know what? That wasn't that bad. And then they're going to start tuning in more and more and more. And you never know. You might have them listen to your whole project. So imagine a room.
I'm sorry. Yeah. That's the problem, though. People are not making projects anymore. People are just going for the one-off to get popular. Because, see, I feel the same way that you said and how I listen to your music. Because when I first heard you, I was like, okay, he's an Eminem influence. I can tell by how you're writing and how you're rhyming and how your pockets are coming out and how you're punchlining your words. I was like, all right, this is very influence-based. I got it. When I heard your project, though, I got fed different pockets of who you are. And I was like, he's one of the few artists that get it. Because when I heard Never Stop, so I'm like, okay, that should be on the soundtrack to a movie or something. He got something. He's not just rhyming just to be like, yeah, I did a song. I got 12 songs of me. he's actually making music with a purpose. And when I listen to music with a purpose, or mission for a purpose, I listen to who are you captivating and who the hell you're talking to. Tell me about Fetty Guerrero and my man Copyright Breeze. Tell me about that.
We were just talking, we're actually in the process of shooting a video for that right now.
Send it to me, I want it.
I will, we will, as soon as we get it, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're plotting this whole weekend down in Miami with my manager, jet skis, and my model female friends that I have, and we're trying to get this yacht going. Like, we're trying to do it all. When we heard that, when I heard that instrumental, I was like, I love it, because it has that mariachi band feel to it. And I could actually see in my mind performing that live with a mariachi band. That would be so dope if you seen these guys live and you seen a mariachi band on stage and you hear that trumpet just going off and you see two guys come out with all these girls performing. And so I heard the beat and I was like, all right. I hit him up. I said, what do you want to do with this, man? I was like, I want you on it. I was like, you've been on pretty much every single project I've ever done. And like I said, he's my right-hand man. And we hadn't done a feature, honestly, in 4 years because we've always been busy, but we always hang out. So it just happened to come upon me. I was like, okay, let me get the hook done first. Did the hook. Then I ended up doing the verse. And I was like, I got to talk about women and having fun, but I wanted to have those few punchlines in it too, which I ended up doing. It just came out so perfect. Like, I put it on one morning, I sat in my car, it just started going. Like, it just instantly happened. We ended up recording this at Street Exec Studios in Atlanta. And the producer the engineer had fun with it. He was like, this is hot. He's like, I can't even lie. I haven't even mixed it yet, and this is hot. And so we just kind of plotted on it, and the more we listened to it, the more ideas we had. I was like, man, this could have been like on a Fast and Furious movie. Like when they go to like one of those different countries. So we started putting the video together, and a lot of people are really enjoying it. Like they said, this is especially in the summertime, it's a summer song.
It's hot.
So
I think it's great. It's a great song. Like I said, when I listen to songs and you take me outside of my realm, or I could be like, I would love to hear that in a video game. I would love to hear that in a movie. I could see that being on a movie. That's when I really start to enjoy projects. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The main artist always talks about their life. You got Out of My Mind. You got Never Had Shit, which is another good song that I like. You go into the depths of who you are, but without the growth and to hear the expansion of your voice, you're nothing but another person who rhymes. Let me talk about how you stood out to me besides Fetty Guerrero. Because I'm a wrestling fan, and rest in peace, Eddie Guerrero. I heard that. I was like, oh, these guys are bugging. But then Crucial K and Need for Speed kind of hit me a certain way, too. Tell me about that.
Yeah, that's my boy. So he was on Area 51 with me. I met him when I first started rapping. I was actually in a group when I first started rapping, and I was the first one to quit because I was like, I don't need this shit. Like I don't know. I just was like, they wanted me to do this whole like tight jeans thing, and I was like, yeah, that's definitely not. I don't wear tight jeans like that with the 501 Levi's, and I don't do that. So, but I always kept up with Crucial K, and so over the years we've always been talking about. We did a song on Area 51 called Lockjaw. So we were going spitting fast, But over the years, I learned how to master that technique to really land words correctly fast. And I always like listening to fast hip hop. I always do. Like, I'll be in the car going as fast as they are. I finally decided I think what made me really want to do this track was Speed 'Em by Tech Nine. And that was with Chris Calico and Eminem on it. And I was like, I love how they have that little, they have the guitar in it. And I watched, actually, I listened to an interview with Tech Nine on how that song came about. And so I was like, okay, I got to find something that I can really go and just flow on as fast as I want. And I ended up finding that beat. And how it came about for him, he always considers himself the fastest lips of the South.
Mm-hmm.
We get to the studio. I did it in one take, and he looked at me. He said, "Are you fucking kidding me right now?" I was like, "Hey man, I've been practicing." And then so it just, even the engineer, and my boy Astro, he's the engineer. He was looking at me. He was like, "I can't even believe this." He's like, "You didn't take one breath." Like, he's like, and it was so clear. And honestly, I was gonna try to pitch it to Tech Nine. But then at the time, I was like, you know what? No. We're going to make this, and we're going to call it Need for Speed. And when Crucial got on it, I knew he was the right one, and he enjoyed it. He was very thankful. Actually, we're going to start a Need for Speed challenge soon with that track. We're going to try to do a Need for Speed.
I got 3 MCs I really want to put on there. That would be interesting.
Yeah, like, it's very dope, and, like, we were even thinking about a video for that too. Like, we were gonna get like the green screen and superimpose our head on Sonic and Tails and stuff like that, and just go wild with it. We were just gonna go wild with it, but it was a dope concept, and I was very proud of that track the way it came out. It came out to the fullest potential it could, and it could grab attention because people like to actually hear that stuff. The hip-hop lyrical heads, they really like to hear that because they want to see if they can keep up with you. And that's what I like doing.
Yeah. But even with your style, you take shots a lot. You take a lot of shots at people. Like,
I hear that.
Skinny jeans, and I ain't with that colored hair, and I ain't with y'all mumble rappers, to the point where you actually did a song called Everybody with a bunch of features on it. Tell me about how that track came about.
That was great. I'm not going to lie. I like talking shit. I do. And there's some times where I need northern artists to get on it. Before that, I did a song called Boats with Ren Thomas.
Shout out to Jersey Hip Hop.
Yeah, me and Ren, man, we mad cool. Like, I got some good stories with Ren. I made him eat gator meat for the first time. He was like, "Fucking gator's good, man. This gator's good. I gotta come down here more often." So, yeah, it was priceless. And, but I did Boats with Ren Thomas, and people really loved that joint. They were all on it. And so I was like, okay, I gotta get Ren on this. And so I started looking at who Ren works with, and then I ran across Mickey Fax. And then so I hit up Mickey Fax, and I was like, yeah, I just did a feature with Ren, shot him the video of me and Ren doing Boats, and he was like, "Oh, you're that dude." And he was like, "That's what's up, man, blah, blah, blah." Asked him his price, gave him his bread, and originally it was supposed to be another artist from my hometown to be on it that was going to go in half with me on everything, and he didn't end up doing it. And I was like, man, I'm getting so sick of this, So I was like, if I'm going to go all out with it, I'm going to do it. Well, there's a girl I know from Jersey, and she rocks with a lot of artists out there, and her name is Bella. And she ended up throwing me towards Snipe Life from D Block. And I was like, okay, some people heard of him, and I had never heard of him at the time because I got so focused with my music. And then I heard him. I was like, you sure this ain't Jadakiss? Like, he sounds just like Jadakiss. Okay. I was like, I can tell he's influenced by D Block for sure. And so I ended up shooting him that, and I felt like him being there instead of the other artists I had originally made a big difference. And for everybody to be on the same page on that project, I wanted some bar-heavy people on there to really, and it's not only just bar-heavy people, but people that know who they are. And that would help bring up my career also into a different tier.
Right.
And it made a difference. Like, I was kind of mad, but before this pandemic happened, Snipe was like, listen, I need you to come to Jersey. We're fixing to do a show with Styles P. Soon I was about to book my flight, all this stuff started popping off. And I was like, damn it. I really wanted to be there. So, but that track, it was, I guess it's just because of the fact that everybody wants to rap now. And some people really don't have what it takes. They just don't. And they hate it when I'm honest about it. I'm really honest about it. And it disgusts me sometimes. I'm not going to lie. Like, some people are trash and they need to hear it.
True.
And I will be the one. I'll be the one. Like, they ask me to be judges at showcases all the time because they know I'm going to tell you what it is. You can't sit there and talk about money on a record, talk about your pockets of this, your pockets of that. But like I said at the beginning of this interview, that your track says purchase your tracks today. You can't even afford to buy the beat, but you're talking about money.
That's right.
I got sick of it. So I decided to drop that, and I'm not going to lie. I had a few people come at me, and I told them, I said, look, it is what it is. If you want to go bar for bar, let me know. And they left it alone.
Hey, man, I respect that because on my platform, it's not to judge. It's to give the world a chance to get to know the artist, and if they rock with you, they do. But if you are that artist that we believe in giving you the tools necessary to help promote yourself competently to the next level. And being able to promote yourself competently means you have a grip on not only your style and your skill, you have a grip on the world around you. Let's get to the heart of the interview. And I think my favorite song that was on the project was Living Right. What inspired you to do the Living Right song?
That particular song, everybody has been reaching out to me about, honestly. Even my brother-in-law, like, he's this hardcore person, and he came to me and he was like, yo, you touched my heart, bro, with that song. And he was like, was that you singing on there? And I was like, yeah, that was me. And that particular song, to be completely honest, I recorded that 4 years ago. And I just now decided, like, I felt like it was the perfect time to release it. And a lot of that stuff, you know, I had seen firsthand, or I knew somebody that was going through it. Like that part where it said sexual predators that ain't even registered in their neighborhoods were under some pressure. I had just found out in the neighborhood at that time I was living in that this guy had been living in our neighborhood, and he was a sex offender but didn't register his new address. And so that particular song, I don't know, it was just like, it was one of those times where it was a lot of things going on, and not only is it profanity free, but it touched people in so many spots that they could relate to. And that was a major factor in that record. You know, it was, you know, I mean, talking about dads coming home drunk, feeling up on his kids, that happens, and people ignore that fact. They really do. And it's a lot, you know, that people go through every day. You know, your next door neighbor. I mean, just recently, I hate to say this, but my next door neighbor, her ex-boyfriend came through the house while her and her kids were home. And I just happened to go home early that day, thank God. He came through the house and just started busting her up. But you have to have people, even though we might put ourselves in harm's way, but you have to have people that want to intervene and stuff like that. You want to have somebody intervene, you know, because you never know. Like, even with bullies, I tell my son all the time, you know, I like roasting. You know, I roast with friends, but when it comes to bullying, I don't let that fly. And, you know, I tell my son all the time, you know, stick up for what's right. You know, don't let anybody bully anybody. I try to teach my kids the real essence of life. And a lot of human beings, you know, we all make mistakes, but at the same time, you know, we learn from them. And I don't know, it's just, I guess I look at the world now, it seems like every year it's becoming more of a struggle for humans to really interact with each other.
That's the beauty of social media, where you will try to look good in a picture, but fail in your life because it doesn't look good to you. Billy Dan, the MOP, he said a liar is a person who's not dangerous because they're making stories. It's because they're unhappy with who they really are, and they're trying to get you to believe the false reality that they created.
Exactly. You know, I mean, yeah, hey, people know I rap, but I will tell people all the time, I'm like, listen, financially, I'm okay. I'm not where I want to be at, but I'm not going to let y'all think that I have all this money. You know, I don't. You know, like when I got an Audi, I bought an Audi, and it was a used Audi. I told everybody that. But that's because my payments were only $170 a month. That's why I bought it. But, you know, hey, it is what it is. You know, I mean, it's so much that goes on in the world. You know, like I said, even currently right now in my city, what's going on with Ahmaud Arbery, you know, it's tragic. Yeah, it's tragic, you know, that people still want to say, and I don't care what they say, you know, people say, oh, it has nothing to do with race. It has 100% to do with race.
Yes, it does.
It does. I've had a situation at my home with the justice system that they changed their mind about what they were going to do about an intruder that entered my home, a white male, and they saw that my wife was black. They slapped this man on the wrist with drunk in public and let it slide. And it's very unfortunate what happened to Ahmaud, because, I mean, hey, he was just jogging. You know, I finally saw the video yesterday, and I will say one thing about this community, though. Even though our justice system and our police department is corrupted, our community is united. We had white people, black people, Hispanics, they all joined yesterday to protest in that neighborhood. And that was something I will say I'm very proud of my city that they did pull together and do. They protested at the courthouse today, and Friday we'll be protesting with the NAACP. So,
well, unfortunately, in America, this broken record is part of the institution of the country and not just a story. So I do pray that those two gentlemen have swift justice any way it comes, and we're going to go back to our interview, because it's good to let the people know how you feel about such atrocities. But hip-hop is born in pain. From out of the Bronx, New York, where a lot of people say hip-hop started, hip-hop's universal voice is not New York. Hip-hop's universal voice is, we have a voice and we need to be heard. So they took nothing, they took something from nothing and made a genre that not only spans the world now, it's the leading influence on culture, minds, and the growth of the worldwide community, such as your music. From your pain of death and family, or maybe identity, and even trying to find yourself, you were able to create something very powerful. And I salute you for it, and I thank you for coming to Heritage Hip Hop and letting me get this great news.
I definitely appreciate the opportunity to come on here as well. Definitely.
But you know, when you bring yourself and your music to Jersey, you know you got to call me, because I want to meet you face to face.
Hey, yeah, that's cool, man. Hey, as soon as this pandemic's over, trust me, I'm booking flights all over the place. I'm booking it all up. I actually, before we go, I will make an announcement with you on this. Okay. I'm actually in the process of a feature right now, which will be done by this weekend with Crooked Eye from Slaughterhouse.
Hey, King Crook.
So, yes, King Crook. So, I sent him my verse. He said, my God, you snapped. I was like, hey, man. And that felt really good. So, you know, I will be taking a trip to L.A. But definitely when I come up that way, I usually stay in Brooklyn when I go to New York. So, I'm all over the place, though, when I go to New York. So,
hey, you in the East Coast, hit Karev Heritage Hip Hop, and me and my partners will come celebrate you. And just to show you how much I enjoyed your music, I bought the album as soon as I was done with it. It's worth buying. So everybody out here who listens to Heritage Hip Hop, if you don't, you corny. Kill yourself. No, don't even do that. Just kill Kill that ignorant crap that you thought that every our media outlet in hip hop is the same, because we're not. We actually support the people who support us. And If the Shoe Fits by Copyright is quality hip hop music. Do yourself a favor and don't be corny. Make sure you get it. And before we get off the line, I want to shout some names to you so you can talk to them about some things as well. But before we get out of here, give everybody your social media, and we're going to have some fun after you're done with that.
All right. My social media, which I made it easier for everybody. I did Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, even Snapchat. It's at THAREALCOPYRYTE. That's the real Copyright.
That's right. Now, with that being said, Mr. Copyright, we are going into our rapid fire questions, which are not yes, no questions. I personally do not want to know what your favorite color is, who you having sex with, or who you do want to have sex with, because it's not my business. I am about the art of hip hop and respecting the culture and the artists that do it. Are you ready to have some fun?
Let's go.
Here we go. Now, these questions are made for you. They're not made for everybody. So you're going to hear similar questions in the other interviews, but this is different, okay?
Oh, shit. All right.
Here we go. The first question, which is very basic, is what hip-hop album personifies your life, and it's not an album that you made?
Logic, Under Pressure.
That's a very interesting choice. Why do you say that?
That is because I listened to the whole album, and he had such a diverse mix of tracks on there, gang-related. Under Pressure is actually one of my favorite tracks on there. Listening to that, I'm not gonna lie, it was hard. Like, a lot of Logic's music, but that particular album put together was priceless. Like, just the way he brought it all together. I can't even really honestly tell you why. Some music just stands out to you and grabs you like right by the face and the ears, and it's like, pay attention. This is hot.
You're the first person that ever said Logic. You're the first person ever said that. Wow.
Okay. I didn't like his new stuff really, but his old stuff, awesome.
Yeah, him and talking about his nicotine addictions. Yeah, he's straight. I got you. Okay, so Logic. Here's the second question. You ready for this one?
Yep.
This is a great one. Since you are MMA trained and you have fought, if you had to personify your hip-hop style into an MMA fighter, who would that be and why? And it can't be you.
Let's say Rampage Jackson.
Wow, really?
Maybe. I don't know. I'm not going to lie, I haven't watched MMA a lot lately.
Okay.
Because I've been so focused with music. So let's just say back when I was doing it, it's just because he really has that, first off, how he does that howling wolf thing he has going on, it stands out about him. Like, I like people that have certain things that stand out about him. And he was definitely like, now unless you're talking about even people that just do MMA in general, I like Michael J. White too. But, Rampage inside the ring, he likes to control what's going on in that ring. Like, he will rush you. And that's what I do. I like rushing people. Like, you're going to pay attention to what I'm doing. I'm going to run circles around you. I'm going to make sure your eyes are focused on me.
I like that. That's very good. I like that. That's very odd that you say that, because I'm an MMA fan. Like, I really love MMA and boxing. And when I think about people and what they're into, I can feel how their style relates to what they're into. You said you like to rush people. Well, you have a very brash style. So when you give people the words, it's not like you're delivering them on a plate. You're actually smacking them in the face. So I can see that, how it goes together. You see what I'm saying?
Definitely.
So how about this question then, which is something I would love to ask you. Hip-hop is known to be based on not only the sound, but the delivery. As a hip-hopper or MC that's lyrical, what's bigger for you, the punch or the delivery of the rhyme?
The delivery.
Why so?
It's like you can throw a whole bunch of words together, But being an actual person who understands lyrical hip hop, the delivery really brings it out. Like, you have to perfectly place these words in a certain way to where it comes together. Like, you could have somebody throw a whole bunch of words that rhyme, and you're going to want to know what's the purpose behind that. Which, this is what I did learn from M. You know, I learned that there was a song called Welcome to Hell with him and Royce the 5'9". I can't remember the words exactly because it's been a while since I've listened to it. He was talking about Bruce Willis on his deathbed with an erection, and he kept going on and on and on. But at the end of that whole scheme, he was like, what point you don't get? I'm trying to say is that I die hard. Die hard as in reference to Bruce Willis being in that movie, but die hard is as him, Bruce Willis dying with an erection. He's going to die hard. Like, it all makes sense. That's where the schemes come into play. You have to really know your wordplay for it to make sense. You know, like, I did a cipher, and, you know, certain things that I said, it went over a few heads, but most people got it. They were like, I'm impressed. You know, delivery does help, you know, because even if you're on a track with a basic voice and you're just like, let's say if you sound like this, you're saying like Dr. Seuss rhymes, you go, one fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish. Nobody's want to pay attention. I could say one fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish with a heavy vocal point on it. And they're like, what the hell's wrong with him? You know, but they're going to know that I said one fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Are you a hip hop connoisseur that studies the art, or you're one who built your art through your experience of hip hop?
It's a little of both, honestly. When I went to go build, when it came to building everything, I had to start from scratch. I had to figure out who I wanted to be. And even to this day, you know, my manager gets on my case. She's like, we got to figure out what kind of artist you're going to be. She's like, you're all over the place right now. You're doing EDM, you're doing this. But then she started enjoying it because, and that's the beauty of who I am as Copyright, is because I can literally be whoever I want to be. I don't have to stick. And that was the whole purpose of this last project, was to show that I don't have to stick to just a certain genre of hip hop, a certain style. I can move, and that's what I started building. You know, I started building off of my experiences of, okay, I go to Atlanta and do lyrical hip hop, they hate it. I went to New York and did some trap stuff, they really didn't like it. So being able to merge everything and build off of those experiences, it was just phenomenal. You know, every experience actually builds me up more and more. It's like Legos. Like, every showcase, every song is like a piece of Lego block. And I'm just steady building on. Like, I have unlimited room to keep building.
All right, I love it, man. That answer was great. That was dope. So since you are a person who's built in the game and who studied the game, the remix is one of the most important parts of hip-hop culture that actually died out, where people would take a song and add people to a track or change the beat. So my question to you is, what is the greatest remix of all time?
Oh, wow. That is a tough one. Man, I have to really think about it because I listen to a lot of remixes. I guess it depends on the era. Let me say that. It depends on the era. If we're talking maybe early 2000s, DJ Khaled was always the one that would do a big remix, or Busta Rhymes, you know. Busta Rhymes, let me go ahead and put it on that. Busta Rhymes took one track and remixed it a lot of times. Touch It. Touch It. There was so many Touch It remixes that came out. Like, he had an all-female one, and he had one with Lloyd Banks. Like, it was just a song that you really couldn't get tired of because he had somebody new on every one. And they all had different flows. But as far as changing the beat up, he didn't change the beat up. But did. I mean, between him and DJ Khaled had a way of putting up a bunch of great artists on one track, and he still does it to this day. You know, he still, I don't know. That was a tough one. I'm not gonna lie, because there's so many songs that have been remixed, but definitely between those two, I would say Busta Rhymes and DJ Khaled.
You were the first person to say both of those gentlemen. So that's dope. Thank you for the first. Here's another one. The feature, I think, is overdone. Do you agree?
Not necessarily. I feel like a feature, a feature I would say is like, let's say you work with an artist of a different style, or or they could be the same style. It could be either one. When I go for a feature, I look to see what their fan base is, to see if that feature would make sense. Like, let's say if I have this many followers, and then that people have this many followers, I kind of go in between and see what their followers look like and what they go after. Because if you have somebody that has a whole bunch of different followers, it's a win-win. You know, you're crossing over your fan bases and merging it into one, and that grows. So if you have the right promotional campaign behind it and you push it really hard, man, I mean, it's let's say that person has 27,000 followers and you mix it with yours, potentially that could be another 27,000 followers to add to your social media. And it grows. And then those people tell more people. That's how your fan base grows. When you do features sometimes like that, you know, you never know. Like, me doing this with King Crook, it could do a lot for me.
It will.
And I'm planning on putting so much money behind that one. So, because I know who his fans are. And that's the other thing, too, is also you want to know who that feature's fans are. So, it could do a lot for you. I don't think not doing features is a possibility. You know, features are part of it. I think it brings out a different creativity also. You can vibe with other artists. Like, look how many songs Lil Wayne and Drake did together. I mean, there's countless, but they were all hits.
But here's my rebuttal to you, and I want to know what you think. What you talked about was not doing regular features. That was a business move. And to me, a lot of artists are doing features with everybody, and it sucks because it's overdone, or they're not putting that work in to know what it is. I feel like everybody's hugging and kissing and playing the culture down by not being able to stand. That's something I liked about your project, is you only had 2 songs with features, and you were able to carry a song on your own. While people get credit for that, which is lame, it just shows that you are able to be an artist that is productive. And that's what I appreciate about it. How does that sound to you?
Oh yeah, definitely. I totally agree with you. Like, I won't overdo features. You know, I will say I did that on Reverse Psychology. I did. I had too many, and that's why I made sure when I dropped this project, I'm like, look, I'm holding back on the features. A lot of people did want to get on, and I said no. I want to limit it because I want people to see I can do this on my own too. Don't get it twisted. You know, like, hey, features were great, but I had some great ones on there for myself also. So I want to be able to I want to be able to prove I can do it all.
Well, part of the feature is that it's a guest 16, that you have a guest come in and they rhyme with you. Now, sometimes the person who features can overdo the artist whose song it is. So I ask you, what is the best guest 16 of feature in hip-hop history?
The best guest, I hate using him. I know Eminem's always been a favorite guest 16. Like, he always comes with something different. You know, every time it's not like, I don't think I've ever heard him on a feature and it was shitty. Like, if somebody featured him on something. Like, when I seen Logic drop Homicide with M, I said, fuck that. I was at work. I said, I'm about to take a 15 real quick. I took my break. Because I've been waiting for that. And I knew he was going to eat. That was the thing. Like, I knew he was going to eat. And I was like, as soon as I heard it, and that's just because I get it. I understand, you know. I understand his bars. Like I said, when it comes to music, when it comes to hip hop, I'm more towards the lyrical side because I love the cleverness of how things are put together in a punchline. And just hearing that together, I was like, man, that's my goal. Like, I don't give a shit if he gives me 8 bars. I want it. Just because I want it, I don't care. Like, he's just a lyrical genius to me. And then I feel like sometimes people don't, I feel like they say, oh, he's overrated. It's not he's overrated, man. He's one of the greats, man, and his rhyme schemes are incredible. There's no denying that.
You're right. There's no denying that. And with this last project, Murder by Numbers, he proved all his doubters wrong. And I'm not an Eminem fan, but I gotta give that man credit that he is nasty. He deserves his applause right now. He deserves it. You can't take it from him. You cannot.
Yeah. That last one, yeah, I will say he's had I think every artist has that down point where they're like, my music is bullshit. Like, everybody has that moment, and they just got to get back on the ball. And I'll tell you, before actually he dropped that album, I knew the pinpoint where I knew he was going to be a great album. When he did that song with Royce called Caterpillar. When he came back with that after doing that, what was that trash-ass album? Revival. I heard that. I wanted to send a fan mail, like, this sucks, bro. Like, what do you got going on? Going through some kind of, did your girl break up with you? Side chick leave you? I don't know what was going on. So, but when I heard Caterpillar, I knew he was coming back hard. It was time, but it happened.
Yeah. Well, we got your favorite guest 16, and, you know, we hear Eminem pretty often. Well, see, if it came to Copyright building his perfect track, who would be on your perfect track, and who would produce it? And you're not limited, dead or alive. It's whoever you want. What would be your perfect track?
Ooh. Honestly, first off, to produce my track, oh man, too bad it's like I'm limited to one person.
Who said? I mean, look at
all right, let's say co-produce. Let's co-produce it. We're gonna co-produce it.
This is your day track.
We're gonna co-produce.
Let's do it.
I want to get a mix between Timbaland because he has that different sound, and I'll probably go with Dre just because of the fact that he works with lyrical artists, so he would know what type of style I'm looking for. That's important also. You know, you want a producer that understands where you're going and what you're aiming for.
Right.
That's very important. You know, I have a producer I work with, and he knows when I say, hey, send me some fire, he knows I mean that. Don't send me no bullshit.
Okay.
So, as far as a feature, I definitely would love Joyner Lucas, to be honest. Joyner Lucas is he's becoming a great trend. You know, I've been listening to him for a while, but this last one that he threw me through a loop with that Will track he did. The video was incredible.
Awesome.
I thought the video
was dope.
Genius.
That was dope.
I wouldn't want him on the track because I know he would outdo all of us. I'm gonna play it smart, you know. I'm gonna play it smart. I would love Dave East. Yeah, Dave East. I'm a Dave East fan. And maybe I want to say Jadakiss. I'm not gonna lie, Jadakiss.
That would be interesting. Okay.
It would be a very interesting track because, like, when you see those different names together, you want to know what's put together. Like, you throw some crazy names, and they're gonna be like Jadakiss, Dave East, Joyner Lucas, and Copyright. What the hell? So that's gonna intrigue a mind to want to hear that.
Yeah. But now you turn my interview around with that answer, because I have something to ask you now that's a little different. You like Dave East, you say, right?
Oh yeah.
You like the David album? With him and Styles P?
Oh man, the Beloved one that they did.
Beloved,
was,
yes. Yes.
Oh my God.
You like that?
I have it on my playlist. That was probably one of my favorite projects ever. Like, I can never get tired of it. Exotic Shit is one of, It's Lit is one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
Cut from a Different Cloth.
Classic.
Like, it was just, that whole project, the beats were on point, and for them, some of the tracks, they just kind of went back and forth, or then they had just had separate verses. Like, I loved it. That whole project was dope. You know, Styles P is also one of my favorite artists.
Okay, so then as a lyrical artist, who would you want to feature on your album to where you are both on the album together equally?
Ooh. If I had really had to do that, and I have to think about where I would want to go with everything, let's say it either have to be at a Royce to 5'9", or I'm trying to think of somebody that's kind of commercial, but they also have that lyrical point also to where they can kind of, let's say J. Cole. J. Cole is pretty, I think of J. Cole because he has his lyrical points, but also, I mean, think of it, he did a song with Miguel.
Yeah,
so
classic. That was a classic.
When you find an artist that can do features pretty much with anybody, you definitely want to do a project with them because they can make a banger. They can make something R&B-ish. They can do anything. You have two versatile artists on one project together, it's a done deal.
Yeah, that's dope. I like that. That was actually an interesting answer. And that's not a question I ask most people because when they're artists who are in their, where I meet them at, I don't want them to be pressured into what they do in the album. You are not that artist, though. You are more polished, and you have a little more edge and synchronicity that they don't have. They always go in one lane where I see that your music has grown. So I ask you this question as well. You say you've been embraced by the black community, so you don't identify as a black male. So I don't want to ask you, like, what's it like being a white rapper, being accepted and all that, because that's all bullshit. If you're good and you got the skills, you should be accepted, period. But what is the measure of crossover and underground success in your eyes?
When it comes to the underground and crossing over, first off, it does take a lot of investing in yourself. You have to invest to get out of where you're from. You know, a lot of artists are comfortable with staying within their radius of either their city or their region.
Yeah, that's called popularity. Right.
Yeah. They want to be able to feel like they're the best out here and everybody knows it. That's cool. You can have the city. I'm trying to take over the world. That's a whole different platform. And I might not be the hottest rapper there ever was. That's fine. But I do want to be recognized. Like I've put so much time into this and money that there's no turning back. I'm not taking my city as an answer. I love my city, but fuck them at the same time. Because I will be honest, you know, they haven't given me credit fully. They haven't. And it's unfortunate, you know, I go somewhere, I still get that bullshit, which it doesn't bother me anymore, but they're like, oh, fuck that cracker. Like, you know, I don't care. I don't. Because honestly, I'm not anyways. They don't know that, so they look stupid. But it's just, they don't realize I've gone to different cities and been in rooms with people that they see on TV. And I think, and I think when I started getting opportunities and I didn't realize it, because I just jumped on them. I would jump on them so fast before I even knew if I even had the money. I was like, yes. Wouldn't even let me finish the sentence. And I'm on it. And that's when I started realizing that I was crossing over into a different lane, and then, you know, getting management on top of that, and my videos looking more, my video quality was a lot higher than people in my city also. So it's just, I mean, money's the name of the game, honestly. Like, if you have, I don't like the fact that people think it's okay to sit home or stay at your mom's house. And I tell people that all the time. They come to me, oh, copyright, I need help, this and that. You know, well, this is all I work with. This one guy told me his budget was $20. I said, well, I don't know what to tell you. You know, I have a home with 2 kids, a wife, I have a job, I have a car payment, I pay rent. What's wrong with y'all? Y'all live with somebody. You don't have to pay any bills. If I can make it happen, so can you. It's just all about what you want. If you set a goal for yourself and you're ambitious about yourself and you're serious about what you want to do, you can cross any bridge you want to. You got to pay a toll, but hey, once you get to the other side of that bridge, you're going.
That's right. And you tell everybody, what do you want to be, popular or successful? Because they're 2 different things.
Oh, yes, most definitely.
I'm glad you said it. So before we get out of here, everybody, once again, this is Copyright, who's our guest on the Heritage Hip Hop Podcast. He's a great MC. Like, he's lyrical, but he also has delivery on different tastes. So whether you want to have a sweet tooth today or you want some bitter root, he has something for both aspects of your palate, and his music is very quenching. So make sure you get it because it's fulfilling music. Here's our last question. Are you ready?
Yep.
All right. So then, unfortunately, life is temporal, and we're going to die one day. All right. And in the year 3000, in the year 5000. Matter of fact, make it simple. In the year 5247. Let's get specific, okay? It's going to be a major earthquake in Georgia, all right? And guess what? When this ground opens up, they're gonna find an Apple laptop, whatever the Apple is now, the Mac. They ain't even call it Mac. It's gonna be called something different in the future. And somebody's gonna plug this Mac computer up, and they're gonna hear your music, which means you're gonna influence another generation of people. My final question, and the most important question of this interview, is: what is the legacy that you leave behind that made the world better because you lived and you did music?
I want to say because I would be able to relate to everybody. If they find by that time, I plan on being where I want to be. You know, after I'm long gone, I plan on being successful at what I wanted to do, which I'm not going to lie. I plan on having a good bit of albums for them to go scroll through. I want to make sure I have something for everyone, and no matter what way it is, I want to be appealing to everybody. And that is why, you know, I like asking questions to people. I want to ask everybody, what do you like? What would you like to hear? I want to make it for you. I want to make it for you. Now, mine might be different in year 5247. You never know. I don't know. Maybe I might get lucky and a robot puts the USB in its ass and plays it out of its ears and everybody hears it. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I might get lucky. He's just walking around but I want to be that legacy to where it was like when I get to tell my story fully about where I came from and where I started from, I want them to be like, yo, he worked his ass off. I want to be known as that hardworking man that did not give up, because that's what we have a lot of. We have a lot of people that they get pissed off because people don't like what they heard after 2 songs. And they go, I'm not going to do this. I quit. I've never quitted. I think the only thing I've ever quit was a job, and I was tired of that shit. But otherwise than that, I've never quit. You know, I've been to court and I've fought cases. I've been in fights. I've gotten my ass whooped before. I'll say it. I don't care. Somebody's got their ass whooped once in their life. Everybody's at least got an ass whooping from their mama or daddy. I don't care. But I've gotten my ass beat, but I did not quit. And that's what it's all about. Like, you want something, you go and get that shit. Right? And I tell the same thing to my son. My son's 10 now. And I'm letting him know. I'm letting him know too. I'm not quitting on him either. You know, he's getting to be big. Like, I don't know what these kids are eating nowadays. They putting creatine in their cereal or some shit. Yeah. But I told him too. I was like, hey, you know, you want to go toe to toe with me? You might be bigger than me. I ain't gonna quit on you though. I'm still gonna whoop your ass as your daddy. But that's what it's all about. I don't know. I just don't have that in me anywhere. I want to make sure I get what I need to get done while I'm on this earth. I was given a second chance to prove what I can do, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make sure I live to 10,000, year 10,000, 100,000, whatever. I don't even know how far we're going to go until this world is crushed and collapsed into nothing.
Well, everybody out there, Copyright has dreams to live forever. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's what it's all about, because that's what your legacy is. It's your enduring story that lives and influences everyone forever. Let's give everybody the one aspect of copyright that we did not talk on, which is not a question, but a copyright, by definition, is you being able to do something, have ownership of it, and inspire others to do the same with your right. So if you listen to Copyright's music, hopefully he inspires you not only to look at life for what it is and to listen to music and enjoy it, but to examine it and be better through the influences of his rhymes. So with that, everybody, this is Karev. We're going to sign off. We're going to say peace, and we out.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Heritage Hip Hop Podcast. This episode is brought to you by Transparent Credit Repair, the superheroes of the financial literacy world. If you're looking for help with debt or your credit score, or maybe you want to learn about financial responsibility and to live apart from stimulus checks to take care of your financial future, contact Transparent Credit Repair at www.transparentcreditrepair.com or call them at 862-250-5122 and tell them Heritage Hip Hop sent you. We want to thank Copyright for appearing on this episode of Heritage Hip Hop, and we're asking everybody, please support the young man because he not only has credible music, but he knows where he wants to go in his career, and that's what hip hop needs: direction and people who care about the culture and the art of rhyming. We'd like to thank everybody who supports Heritage Hip Hop by telling you to follow us at www.heritagehiphop.com. Membership is free to our site, and with that membership, you unlock members-only exclusive radio albums, mixtapes, playlists, music, etc. So we ask that you please become members at www.heritagehiphop.com. If you would like to support us by buying apparel, our store is on www.storefrontier.com/heritage hip hop. We have hoodies, t-shirts, and other types of apparel to help you look good, stay fresh, and represent the brand. We'd like to give a shout out to our partners and affiliates, Fatty's Place, our virtual assistants. For anyone who needs that virtual assistance and make your social media pop, contact them on Instagram at FADDYSPLACE. If you're looking for marketing and promotion for your goods, your art, or your music, hit up Firejaws at FIREJAWS, a prolific MC who studied marketing, promotion, and placement and knows how to put your skill to where it's needed the most. Also, we are partnered with Diamonds Entertainment LLC, which is the gentlemanly side of hip-hop, which is about sports, fashion, and more. If you want to see what they're about, go to DIEMENZ Entertainment LLC on Instagram. Everybody out there watching, there's more to come on the Heritage Hip Hop Network. It's not just me. Look for the Big A Show to come back, which you can find on YouTube right now, the Big A Show. And yeah, we're working. Look forward to more artists, more music, and something special, because we don't only just talk music on here, we talk life. So, for real hip hop, we ask that you support not only the artists, but support Heritage Hip Hop. Everybody, thank you for listening, and please stay safe in this COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic, because the world is better with you than without you. And to everyone out there listening, we say peace, and we out.